Okay, first things first. You gotta know how to sew. I mean, you could make a stitch, right? At the very least, you'll need some thread, a needle, fabric, and embroidery hoop. The rest is optional. It's all optional. Life is optional, I'm just kidding. So get your base image on some fabric. Use something durable like cotton, denim, something that's gonna last. You can draw right on there, psych. You can transfer it with some tracing paper, nah. If you're feeling fancy, you can print it out on some printable iron paper. It's definitely a shortcut, but I don't think you understand how long this is gonna take. Like, I really feel like you don't know how long this is going to take. It's okay, I don't either. What kind of thread we use is gonna determine how nice this looks. Like, the yellow, I mean, it's not like it's cool, but it's a different look, obviously. I think that's considered like the sort of subpar embroidery thread, I guess, like the craft. You're not going to be able to break it down into 6 threads because that's what the other one's made of. The nice one, the DMC, you can split it up into 6 threads and get like a finer sort of look. The most important thing with this, as far as like if you want to break it down into smaller threads or not, is like how large is that surface area? Also what shape it is, because if it's just like a square, like it's just a square, you can straight lines. But if it's like a lot of curves and everything, you might want those lines to be nicer. So it's helpful to draw it out, which I would have done, but I printed it out instead. So you got your base. It's pretty cool, or pretty freaky, pretty weird. You can just leave it there if you want to. I mean, I'm gonna keep going because this video has no chill. I'm only gonna show you the lazy stump, the regular stump with the dog ear, and some fringe. Okay, so for the stump embroidery, I am just drawing out my figure first, drawing out the shape of whatever I want. This is a tongue. It's gonna be the little doggy tongue. Took some really thin wire, and I'm just gonna like tack it down. It might be necessary to do it in the same color that you're gonna do the entire thing, but it's just with like some really thin sewing thread. Here's the tongue. Just fill up that shape. Fill it all the way up. And then when you're done, I split the thread up into 3, just like 3 little threads. And I'm basically wrapping around the wire so that you don't see it, because that's what's holding the shape together. That's going to give you the ability to cut it out, and like it'll be its own thing separate from the fabric. When I'm done with that, I draw a circle around the shape, which is where I'm going to cut it. And then I do just a long simple stitch around the shape as well. But inside the circle where I'm going to cut it, that's going to be where I pull it. You'll see what I do, because I'm not making sense. I'm just not. I cut it, and then I pull it. With this other way I did it, you just do it on this special fabric. It dissolves in water. put that in, and it dissolves, and you don't have to cut it, and you're done. I also did that with the duck face. Don't even try that, honestly. I did this like 3 times. It was so annoying. And then I ended up just coating it in a bunch of plastic, so it doesn't count. So when you're done sewing your tongue or your stump, you're going to poke the wires through to the other side. Make sure the wire is all the way through. Fold it on the opposite side and then sew it down. Sew it down without poking through to the other side. Okay, so for the rainbow face, I'm basically weaving. So I put a pin at the bottom, like as long as where I want the rainbow to be. I'm basically wrapping the thread around the pin. I don't want to actually go into the fabric at the bottom. I'm only going into the fabric at the top. Because at the end, I'm going to pull the pin out, and then it's going to be a little flop. So I do that, tie it up, and then for the colors, take note of how I started it. I wrap it around that piece of thread, and then go in between the thread itself, and then I'm going back and forth in between the 2 threads next to it, with the 2 little bars next to it. So back into the previous color, and then onto the new bar, onto the new piece of white thread. For the start, I just did two white bars. And you're doing that all the way up. When you end that color, you can just really just go into the mouth and then tie it off in the back. It's not necessary for the top of this to the whole thing. So you can just tie it off in the back. Okay, look what happens. Take it out. Bam. Flappy rainbow, I'm telling you. So the fringe is pretty easy. You're coming up, you're making the loop, you're holding the loop, and then you go back in, and then you just make a stitch over that to sort of hold that in place. Pretty easily. And then you can either leave them as loops, or you can cut it so it's like actual fringe. And there's your patch. If you want that iron-on effect, you can just add the Heatbond that I'm using here. Make sure you fold in all of the elements, like the tongue, the hair, anything you put on. I actually ended up using fusible interfacing on top of the Heatbond. One, my fabric wasn't super thick, but also just like look at the back of it. It looks crazy. And the Heatbond is only like a really thin, clear film. I just put this interfacing on top just to have like a blank slate or whatever. Cut it like 1/8 of an inch to the face, to the shape. For this one, I'm just holding it because like I'm not gonna get that duckbill flat. If I did, I would mess it up. You're gonna sew a satin stitch around the edge, which is basically just means you're gonna keep the stitches really close to one another. With wrapping it around, when you start off, just go over the little end piece. You go around and around, and then when you finish, you're going to end on the back, go back into itself, take apart the thread, sew back in with just half of that thread, tie it, and then I would take all of the thread, put it back in the needle, slip it into like a few stitches so it's like super secure. I know you're wondering like, okay, but how did you get those clouds? How did you get that hair? How did you get those freckles? What's up with those hearts? What's up with those glasses? Like, you just gonna leave me hanging? I am gonna leave you hanging because this is the demo and that's premium. I'm just kidding. But it is though. Like, you should just go to my Instagram and watch it.
Although it doesn't really have some of these anymore.
No, I just mean like if I can do a face on the face. Hey!